So I'm about to do a conference keynote here in Beijing talking about educational technology, and I thought, what a better opportunity than to talk about EdTech in China next on the EdTech vlog. Hi, my name is Dr. Matt Harris, and I'm going to talk to you today about EdTech in China. So, as I said at the top of this presentation, I'm here in China, in Beijing, at the 2018 Hope Conference. Here they give me this cool little nice hoodie to wear here because it's actually freezing outside, I gotta be honest with you. And coming from Singapore, I'm so cold, but it's okay. I can deal with it. I'm a big boy, and I've my beautiful new jumper. So in my conference presentation today, I'm gonna talk a bit about the ways that you use technology for learning. A lot of the things that we've talked about in these various vlogs or materials on my website and work that I do with companies. And I'm going to go over the various stages of technology in a school, from access to application to outcomes, and a project I'm working on with some peers around digital literacy for teachers. It's going to be fascinating. And in this keynote, it's going to be given to about 500 people, which will be awesome. And it's about 3 hours away. So I'm super excited about that. But in doing that, I've started to think a little bit more about EdTech in China. So I get to come to China 2 to 3 times a year and talk with people here around educational technology and the progressive things that they are doing. And I realize that there's a lot of people outside of China or even probably inside of China for that matter, that don't really know what's going on here. And I am by no means an expert, but the connections that I've made and the discussions that I've had have really shown me that it's a real fertile ground here in China to do some pretty amazing things. China has a pretty historic educational system, and obviously a gigantic one with all the people in the various provinces and large cities that are bigger than many countries around the world. China has all that. So to do educational technology here means that you're going to have to deal with a lot of variables. But there's major potential here, and there's a hunger here that you don't find in a lot of places. So the desire to integrate technology here in China is growing by the day. I mean, I get phone calls and emails, and my contacts and I chat about this all the time, that there are opportunities across the board, especially in K-12 education, to integrate technology for operations and learning and outcomes. So as I said, today I'm going to talk about kind of overall school structures related to technology and not get into depth around what you do exactly in the classroom, but that's where China wants to go. They want to know what sort of tools do you need in the classroom to do some interesting activities to go forward with outcomes. Now, outcomes is an interesting thing here because there's a strong cultural desire to do wonderful things with education to help the population, which is not unique to China, but it's kind of one of their central pillars right now. And yet the education system is very traditional based. So they do a lot of didactic instruction and teacher-led learning, and the examination structures are very much kind of summative based, high stakes examination at multiple points in the child's career. So how do you do the progressive pedagogies and the focus on 21st century skills and kind of this personalization of learning with technology that we know can always happen, right? That's where the potential is. And those are the discussion points. Those are the change points here in China. And so what they're doing is that they're investing in a number of ways, and it's absolutely fascinating if you want to get more involved. They're investing, number one, in different tools. So there are new tools coming out of China for the internal market that now they're trying to move outside of China to help students learn and connect using the devices. So they very much are device-specific tools to provide access to content, like learning management systems, content delivery systems, organizational systems around video, and various other connections. They're also using the engineering culture and kind of the low-cost manufacturing culture here to build out a number of hardware options beyond just the devices that we know are kind of a center point to a lot of EdTech programs. They're doing a lot with finding tools. So I was working with one company that had a camera, kind of a portable visualizer camera that could move around. Touchscreens are all over the place. They have labs of equipment that are easy to use, and then they're manufactured right down the street or right around the corner. So the cost of ownership is much lower, and they can go to scale. And that's the other thing that is just absolutely fascinating about China, especially around these startups in these companies, you do a hardware startup in the United States or Europe, and it's not going to be huge, right? It's going to take you a while to get to scale. Well, the scale you're aiming for are the startup elements here. So, you're hoping to push to 50,000 units across the country, and then you've hit a major plateau. 50,000 units is a bad day kind of here, because there are so many people and there's so many options, which means that China has the opportunity to try a lot of things at broader scale, which kind of leads me to think that there needs to be more focus here. And kind of along those same lines, which is just absolutely fascinating, is that the investment in EdTech is really strong here. So Tencent and Alibaba and the government here are really putting a lot of money into technology for learning in China. So they know that it's a major growth industry that's going to tie into these educational outcomes they're seeking to do. Arguably, the VC funding, as of today, it's 2018, arguably the VC funding in China is higher than it is in some of these other areas around the world that really are pushing EdTech at the same level we're pushing like fintech and social media type enterprises. They're pushing it that big just for EdTech products because they know they have the scale and they've got the government backing to build some pretty amazing programs. The points that I work with a lot here are I do connect with those companies and I'm having some discussions with funders, but the really fascinating discussions that I have are around the learning elements. So, you can put technology into a school here in China, and they have the variability that any school has in terms of access and finances and resources and support. But where we're trying to give them more locus of control is around the educational activities. Those learning activities with technology that make this so amazing and so impactful for other parts of the world. We're trying to help them localize that for the Chinese context where the experience hasn't been there, but the desire is there. And that's a real major point here, that principals in schools, the Ministry of Education, local authorities are having these discussions around how do we leverage technology that is pervasive in this country. I mean, the WeChats and the Weibos, and I just took a Ed.D to get across town, which is the equivalent of an Uber. They're pervasive. They pay with these things. They communicate. They're on all the time. They're frankly making noise everywhere you go, but that's a different issue. They're everywhere. And so how do you draw upon that access that you have here to push the potential for learning everywhere else? They want more people that are going into these engineering and artificial intelligence and computational thinking fields. They have it here. So there's a huge opportunity with government backing and with localized support, desire, and frankly, resources to come in and start building those teacher education programs and those curriculum development areas. And then we're hoping that the assessment models will then come to match. So if you're looking to learn a little bit more about China and EdTech and the things that are going on here, send me a note or connect with me. I'm happy to have further conversations away from this vlog and just chat a little bit more with you because it's just an absolutely fascinating topic. And every time I come here, I'm just amazed with the directions they're looking to go and the progress that they've been making. So please engage with me a bit more and we can chat about it more in depth. Yeah. And please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel below here because we'll talk about other things. I do work in other countries. Maybe we'll go into detail about some of these products that I'm working with and maybe some of the countries. I'll give you some more case studies of things that I'm doing in individual schools. Who knows? And then please follow me on Twitter. My handle is @MattHarrisEdD. And I will share things that I find along the way, whether it's in China, Southeast Asia, Europe. I'm doing some work in Africa. The Middle East is fascinating. And then there's this continent called America. I guess there's two parts of it. We talk with those people from time to time as well. But anyway, thank you for joining. Have a great day. Bye.